Well, welcome back, everybody. So, before we do anything, I want to forget the intro this time, so cue the intro.
All right, so with that out of the way, let's begin. This is actually take two of the video because my recording crashed. So we're gonna begin in Poland. Now, if I had to cue the recording, I had to cue the intro a little bit earlier because I didn't need what happened last time happening again. If you don't remember what happened in the last video, first go watch that video. Secondly, basically I forgot to cue the intro for like 8 minutes, and then I queued it really late, and that was weird. So let's begin now. Let's begin. So as I said, I already recorded this part, so I'm just gonna click the redo button instead of actually drawing it all. So Poland is actually going to expand all the way over here. And now Poland, as we know, is this is where we're starting. Poland, as we know, is continuously expanding right now because they have literally no enemies. Oh, one more thing, Rome also expanded over here. I forgot to redraw that. Eh, It used to look like this. Okay, it used to look like this. Now it looks like this. It's a Roman now. Also, they've expanded a little bit in Austria. They've expanded in these regions. So yeah, both countries have expanded. Central Europe is looking like it's not really going to have a new country. It's looking like it might just be a lot of countries expanding. France also seems to have just stopped expansion after, especially after their embarrassing defeat to Crimea. So yeah, after getting over here, I think both these guys are a little bit severely they're both kind of knowing that this is going to lead to a war because both countries really like it's for both countries' economy, it's really important that they get this land. Both countries just want it because their people are gonna be happy, right? Like that's a pretty big issue for Rome right now is making their people happy. But both countries also want it because there's a lot of stories by a lot of settlers and scouts in these regions that there is gold in here. So as the Polish continue to expand eastward, they actually run into a tribe that actually kills a lot of the people who were like a lot of their scouts and a lot of the settlers. So that is actually going to make them kind of revisit their southern policies, like their policies on expanding to the south, because they want to stay away from there since there's there's like a little bit of there's a lot of things like Balkans expand there, Rome expands there. They don't want those wars. That fight was over here, so they're going to be forced to de-expand that. Actually, no longer is that going to be Polish. They're actually going to leave that. Now, this is actually going to be so disastrous. There's going to be so many deaths. It's going to be actually 30,000 deaths, which for just settling a new piece of land is a little bit crazy. I'm not going to lie. That is very disastrous. And so that is going to lead to the current Polish leader actually stepping down, and a new, more tough on war guy is going to come into power who's going to revisit the south. And he's going to see, we have all of this land. He's going to basically say, we have all this land. Rome isn't going to do nothing to us. Our military is probably the strongest in Central Europe. It's worth noting that from my definition right now, there's only these two are the only countries in Central Europe. Rome and these guys. So they're the best, but they're also the second worst. Keep that in mind. So they're like, let's just expand over here. Let's capture all this land. We can survive Rome. Like Rome ain't doing nothing to us. So he's gonna start it off with a little bit of an expansion right here, actually, just to test if Rome is really going to do anything. Rome is going to do something. Rome is going to claim that this land is actually going to go all the way up to here. So they're going to extend their claims of Europe. Now, Rome is also currently, this episode has been trying to expand a lot. Um, like they expanded here, they expanded their Austrian territory. This is all going to be a part of their Austrian territory for the record. Like all of this. Maybe they might make another territory out of it. Maybe not. They might make Outer Rome because they have three territories. They have Rome, Outer Rome, and then Austria. So they might make it something like this. Like this is Austria, this is Outer Rome, or Outer Austria, for example. Either way, a lot of things can happen. Stay hydrated. So there, what's gonna happen is the Polish they're gonna start sending troops. Rome they're gonna be like, oh hell no, and the two countries are eventually going to kind of be forced to make a little bit of an arrangement like this. Polish are gonna end there. Rome is gonna colonize all of this. And I think both the Polish and the Roman are going to realize the only way out of this is war. Rome, whose economy is literally crumbling right now because, red team sanctions, is gonna, and also they were really mad at the red team. They didn't, so they sanctioned the New Zealand conferences, which you got to watch the previous videos just to see what that is. Basically, it was like a little UN summit, for example, which means they have no allies, literally none, zero allies. Not a single country in the world likes Rome. It's not that they all hate it. It's just that most of them either hate it or just don't really care about them. Actually, no, it's the other way around. Most of them don't care about the Romans. Some hate them. Anyway, Rome is gonna take a risk. They're gonna, to make their people a little bit happier, they're actually going to launch an invasion. Now, both the Polish and the Romans are thinking the same thing. There is absolutely no way the other side can deal with our military strength. Because the Polish, they think they're the strongest here. Rome thinks they're the strongest. Actually, it's pretty close also. So the Romans, they're going to continue their invasion of Poland, and actually, they're going to get pretty far out. As they continue to capture all these strategic locations, keep in mind this is over, like, this tension has been building for weeks, and the Romans have been preparing for weeks, but the orders to invade came out of nowhere, and this happened in 48 hours. 48 hours, and this is what the front line looks like. Rome is going to continue over the next um couple of hours. They're actually going to capture this. So in less than 3 days, it's all been completely turned around. Poland is going to pull maybe the most genius thing ever. The Polish president, like monarchy, yeah, president. Actually, yeah. Wait, do they have a monarchy or a president? I think they have a president. We're gonna say yeah, president. Like they have that. Yeah, just like no, they have the president like Abyssinia, where people like the top elites come, and then yeah, actually, yeah, we're gonna say it like that. It's very corrupted. The top elites are gonna come and they're gonna choose one person in power. Um, so the guy this time, he's probably one of the first people in Poland that have support from the public, like actually has support from, obviously everyone is endorsed by the public because Poland hasn't been in a war, so there's no real reason to hate your leader yet. They're all endorsed, but this one's like actively supported by the public. So he's going to continue trying to like clip farm the war, and he's going to continue telling his generals to actually go to war and destroy Rome. However, one of the most experienced Polish generals in here, who actually, remember, Poland was settled by Crimeans, and he actually fought in the Crimean. He was one of the lead generals that fought to conquer Istanbul from the Ottomans. So he's very experienced, basically. He's going to basically do something that's going to be a little crazy. He is in charge of this land. He's going to completely pull back all his army and let Rome arrive at the front gates of Poland. Roman troops are going to get an extreme morale bonus, and they're going to launch a complete massacre into Poland. They're gonna go all the way over here, and he's gonna basically tell the president, he's gonna be like, just trust me on this, let it happen. And as these guys continue to go in further and further into Polish lands, a lot of people are going to be telling this general to step down. Eventually, right when they get over here, he's gonna launch it. You see, this is where a lot of big Polish cities are. So obviously the Romans are pushing there, but they're leaving this undefended. Quickly, he's going to basically, same thing as the Romans did, in the span of one night, he's going to push over here. Not only, but he's also going to push like this. I think now the Romans realize that they're about to get encircled. So as they start pushing out to these sides, they leave all of this undefended. And he is going to push down. And as he's pushing down, he's also going to launch an invasion of Rome. So Rome is now being invaded. Their biggest like legion of soldiers is currently outside of the country, not even able to defend it, and they're being encircled. Overall, this guy is very, very smart. However, too bad for him. The president sees him as a little bit of a threat to his power. So the president's gonna come in. He's gonna jail this guy. He's gone now, but his troops are still going to listen to his example. They're still going to go out with the plan, cut off these guys over here, and like I said, the president was like really loved by the public, so they're not even gonna bat an eye at this general just kind of getting jailed. He's gonna get jailed on corruption charges, and they're basically gonna say that he was really bad at his job. So he's gone. He's in a jail. Meanwhile, these guys are getting absolutely whooped, and eventually they're actually going to surrender as they run out of resources. So yeah, that's not looking very good. Rome is going to actually pull back from here, and now the Austrians are going to start getting very upset because they're the ones taking the brute force of the Polish, and so they're going to basically pull out support. They're going to sanction the Roman plan to colonize this land. They're not going to let Roman aid go to the settlers, and so Rome is going to be forced to decolonize over there. And then over here, Polish troops are going to actually launch small little things, into Roman territory. That was way too much. Into Roman territory. So Austria especially. And now the Austrians are getting a little sick. They're like, "Bro, can you end this, please? Thank you." Poland also wants to end this war, and so eventually, finally, a peace treaty is signed. So taking a look at this peace treaty, it's actually going to be a little bit bad for both sides, kind of. Rome is definitely going to take the higher damage. So the land that started all of this, first that, um, Rome is actually gonna have to decolonize their half completely. Poland's also going to have to. Oh, this is also mediated by Crimea. Let's see where they meet up. I'm gonna say they offered Crimea offered to mediate, but then Poland actually went to these guys, and Rome also chose these guys to mediate. These guys are the direct competitor of Crimea right now, so that's gonna be really funny. Um, with those guys being chosen to mediate, they're gonna decide both Poland and the Romans need to just give up on this land. It's gone. The southern half needs to be maintained as a no man's land. Both agree to not colonize this land at all. Over here, they're gonna say to Poland, keep what economically possible. This is a suggestion. I guess Poland doesn't really have to listen to this, but they say for the well-being of your people, we order you to one decolonize this, which is a very large military base. So kind of showing that Poland is ready for peace. Second thing they're gonna have to do is they're actually gonna get to annex all of this. So that is Polish territory now. Now with that, mediation done. Now this is what Poland is going to be doing. Poland is actually going to be decolonizing a lot of this land because they're going to realize they can't keep onto this. It's too expensive. So Poland is going to decolonize. This was not an order from the Estonians. This is just Poland. Or no, the Crimeans, the Baltics. This is the Baltic state. So with that, Polish and the Baltics are both done. They both expanded. Now, next thing, the Baltics expansion. So they just helped Poland expand. Now they're going to expand. First things first, they're actually going to get up here, and they're not going to make the mistake that the Romans and the Polish did. They're going to ask Poland if they're okay with this. Poland obviously just got mediation from these guys and is kind of a little bit indebted to them. So they're going to be like, yeah, we're okay with it. You go ahead. You do what you want. Over here, these guys are going to expand a little bit as well. Now, Crimea, for the first time, is going to begin beefing with people. They're actually going to start putting out a lot of propaganda against these guys on their state newspaper. They're gonna start informing people, being like, yo, these guys suck, get away from them. A lot of countries that are deeply reliant on Crimean ports are gonna get heavy repercussions if they trade with these guys. All those red team tactics, all those red team against blue team tactics. So this is honestly the first time that I can think of where Crimea has been beefing with somebody. So that should really say something that Crimea really feels threatened right now. And why would they not? These guys just took the land that Crimea was trying to get. Actually, we're not gonna say that they expand there. That looks horrible. I'm gonna make them expand a little bit more over here. They're gonna capture some more territory in Finland. Crimea is realizing what they're losing out on. And so the Crimeans are actually going to prepare for war. They're gonna go to these guys and they're gonna tell them any more expansion the to the north, or to the north of Finland, right here. North of this, any expansion will be considered declaration of war. East of this, west of this, any expansion is also considered declaration of war. These guys are not gonna care at all, and they're gonna call Crimea's bluff. They're going to go and they're going to colonize this. So they're making this Baltic little empire like Crimea made the Black Sea Empire. Crimea is gonna be like, bro, I literally just warned you, and these guys are gonna be like, all right, give us the repercussion then. And Crimea is going to realize that they are not in a situation to pull that off because now here's the reason that this was a complete bluff. Crimea is built off of economy, and they have been taking up a little bit too many wars now. Blue team's also actually going to step in. This is the real reason. That was the cover up reason. The Crimeans are going to say that, you know what? it's better for our economy if we just don't do this. Real reason is blue team's actually going to step in and declare their support for these guys. Okay, let's back that one up. That one looked horrible. So yeah, blue team is going to give support to these guys. They're actually going to start flying out aid. Flying out, no, I mean like shipping. Planes aren't here yet. They're gonna, well, they're gonna have to pay a tax on Crimea because Crimea heavily taxes people who are trading with these guys. Blue team's gonna cross that by just like going through the red team and then through Azerbaijan, and then they're just going to get up here and then they just take it like that. Different ways they're gonna get out of that, but Crimea is going to get actually really really mad at this, and there's gonna be a little bit of a distraction. Red team is going to get involved in a war. Basically, Sri Lanka, their isolationist strategy is completely killing the people there. There's no job openings, there's nothing, there's no opportunities. You can't really leave because, where are you going to leave to? The visa's really weak. I mean, the passport's really weak. Overall, you just can't really, no one can afford to leave the country. And then the country isn't really doing anything to really make it better. The rich are getting very rich in Sri Lanka. And, there's no one to stop it because no one cares about Sri Lanka. They have literally no relations with anybody except for the occasional trades with the blue team. They're not interested in expansion, they're interested in nothing. So a military general who was like campaigning for war with the red team and like I mean war with the blue team, he's gonna get in charge and he's gonna be like, you know what, we need to actually start thinking about our country as a country instead of a city. We need to actually get involved in international things. Sri Lanka um actually is one of the only nations that went to New Zealand and literally did nothing. They campaigned for nothing. They asked nothing. They voted on nothing. They literally went to observe. And a lot of people were very salty from that. They're like, bro, you did not just miss that opportunity. Countries like Shanghai were out here campaigning for things, and you all didn't even try. So this revolution is going to begin, and the red team is going to be like, yo, revolution on literally the crown jewel of the blue team. Revolution on its front doorstep. If we control this, we literally get a little military state type thing inside of basically and what the blue team has in its control is like we're basically about to get control like a small military base in the center of the blue team's fortress. Like the Indian Ocean is a fortress of theirs, and so they're gonna start supporting these rebels. They're gonna make a deal, fight under us, like under the red team, and we will literally declare war on Sri Lanka and get involved. We'll make you guys the owner of Sri Lanka, but we want you to basically become like a puppet state of theirs. They want control over these guys, and obviously the government's propped up by the red team, then the red team's gonna have a lot of control. These guys are gonna take up on that offer, and the red team is going to begin their full invasion of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, the capital is going to be invaded, and as the capital is being destroyed, the rebels are also going to meet up, and the capital is going to fall. Now, the blue team is getting insanely scared. They're like, bro, what is happening right now? There's absolutely no way. But they can't get involved because, you know, in the New Zealand thing, there was all talking about how they're going to try not to fight with the red team and stuff. So even though the red team is pulling this, the blue team is like, okay, we'll let it slide. That was a very bad idea because soon after, Sri Lanka is going to completely fall, become a red team puppet. That is crazy. You know what else is even crazier? The fact that day one of this new government, they're going to get enrolled in a red team alliance. You know what's really, really crazy? These guys have been trying to get in. These guys have been trying to get in. And these guys have been trying to get in for like 10 episodes now. These guys are in. Okay. So yeah, a lot of people are going to be insanely mad at this. Meanwhile, the blue team and Crimea are beefing right now because of control over the world market. Both are kind of playing money games with each other. Like these both are trying to showcase that they're the top economy of the world. Now, obviously, Crimea is not in terms of GDP nearly the same as the blue team. But if we talk about purchasing power GDP PPP, then Crimea is number 3. Blue team is number 1. And I think red team or Shanghai is number 2. So being number 3 while being just this big, and they're also expanding everywhere, and then also this issue over here with these guys, blue team is actually starting to take Crimea as a threat. And blue team is going to do something. War with Crimea. Blue team is basically going to get sick of this, and in Australia is going to come the breaking point. In Australia, Crimea is going to announce plans to build on lands that the blue team claims as their own, which is going to be these lands. And still, blue team is gonna be like, if you do this, we're declaring war on you, and we are destroying you until there is nothing left of Crimea inside of Australia. Crimea is going to start the war by actually launching not only those building plans, not only are they going to send some scouts, which are actually going to be shot at by the blue team, and the scouts are going to return, and they're going to tell the Crimeans, look, we cannot do this, it's way too dangerous. Second thing Crimea is going to do, not only do they do that, they're also going to launch a complete naval blockade of the north of this island of the blue team, and then they're also going to launch a little land invasion. They're going to slowly pull out after looting some resources, and then eventually they're going to launch a full invasion of this thing, which I'm pretty sure used to be Roman. Um, anyways, so they're gonna actually launch a full-on invasion of the biggest mainland Australian thing that the blue team has. Blue team is going to respond as well. They're going to launch an invasion of Crimea's biggest thing, and the two are going to finally be entrapped in a complete war. Crimean forces are actually over here going to get absolutely whooped around. Like blue team, I don't think these guys realized what they were doing. Like they have the cash for this war, but not the military. These guys were treating it like a cash only war, and they're going to be forced to hire a lot of mercenaries who don't really speak each other's languages, and logistics is going to become an issue, and Crimea is literally going to lose one of its major overseas colonies. That's a very bad look on your government. Next thing, blue team is actually going to start sending resources over here from across their empire and easily defeat Crimea. Third thing is going to be the blue team like kind of getting all the way over here, and I think after this, Crimea is actually going to be forced to pull out in exchange of a peace treaty. So, taking a look at this peace treaty, the blue team is not going to be messing around. They're going to be like, you chose this, it's over. They're going to capture this, and as they're about to capture this, a civil war is actually going to break out in Crimea. Basically, the monarchy, the king at the moment, his brother is going to be like, bro, his brother is second in line, I guess, because he doesn't actually no, he has a son, so his brother's like third in line if something happens to his son. He's gonna be like, yeah, I'm done with this. We need a better thing, and the brother is actually gonna go to some public campaigning. However, he is going to be killed by the king. He's gonna be oofed, and so the military general, is gonna see that. He's gonna be like, you know what? He's right. Our military just took such a big hit. We're done. So a lot of elites are gonna come, and basically a rebellion is going to begin. That's going to start in the outskirts of the kingdom, so like Denmark, Istanbul, things like this. So Denmark honestly is going to fall almost immediately. They're going to take Copenhagen, and then the rebels are going to basically just push these guys to the south, where they're going to surrender their arms. Now the rebels are going to quickly start escalating, and wait, no, I want to change something. The brother was not killed, he was exiled, and he is going to come back. So the brother, they're going to bring him back from exile. He was exiled in Georgia. He's going to be brought back, and he's going to actually lead a front in Istanbul, the crown jewels. And quickly, yeah, as you can see, Crimea is losing a lot of stuff. Villages are not being burned. They're literally turning sides. Like this is a new age for the Crimeans. So they are going to let Crimea keep this, and they are gonna say that this took us a lot of war, a lot of money, so we're gonna keep this. However, we'll see if we want to give it back. We'll give it back once we've made our money back that we spent on the war, and we're able to pay the families of the people who lost their lives. They also want some reparations for that, so they say in exchange for normalization, we would like a payment of $3 trillion, which the Crimean GDP, easy money, like that's pocket change. Crimean GDP right now is like 50-60 trillion dollars. Yeah, every country trillion is not that much for this world because this is like old world. Gold is really valuable and stuff like that. So yeah, um, Crimea is actually gonna argue that it should be like 1.2 trillion, so they don't really like go into a recession. Blue team's gonna agree, and they're gonna be normalized, and then this is gonna be returned once the money lost in the war is made back. So yeah, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this was a little bit of a long one, but it's worth it. Come on, it's good content. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.